Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come on in here. Those who are watching or the ones who will be watching, if anybody watches all, come on in here. Mount Fuji Kadir, Vanguardian News. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for sharing some time. Um, well, you said the heading, the title of this. Who will be our next? And when I say next, I'm trying to get my situation right. So apologize about that. When I say next, who will be our as far as in the people of the darker hue community, so-called black, Negro, colored, African American, Moors, whatever nomenclature you want to throw in front of that or use. Uh, Indigenous people, West Indian, those communities. Who will be our next? Who's going to lead our next political movement? Because some of the people, a lot of people are getting older. They don't have the energy. Uh, people are getting up in age now, uh, especially if you kind of came up as a teenager in the 80s or a young adult in the 80s. People are getting older, and the energy level, I find, and just me, I could be wrong, it seems to be a little lackluster. Now, people I'm be around. I'll be around a different lot of people in the community, and that's what I get in the community as far as like going to these community centers and what I saw at the polls in my area. Um, I saw a lot of elder that were voting, a lot of elder people, uh, middle age adults, um, but mostly Caucasian, Asian. Uh, didn't see a lot of Latino people voting in my precinct where I was at in my community, but mostly a lot of Caucasian, elderly Caucasians participated. Uh, a lot of different, I would say the black vote was there. I saw a lot of black participation. Didn't see a lot of Latino participation, considering the community where I live at is heavily and you know populated by Latinos. It's heavily populated by Latinos. So I was shocked uh, when I was just taking my account of the voter participation. But where I was at was very smooth. You get in and you get out. I voted early, and I say that to say, just pondering who's going to be the next leader, who's the next superstar, who's the next anointed one. If I may ask. I mean, you had the Trump movement. We all saw how that went, and it's going. He's in ongoing investigations, as you know. He's in the news for one thing or the other, and it's been a disaster with him. He has a lot of followers, he has a lot of supporters, he has a lot of votes, and he can do no wrong by them. Let's just call it what it is. Uh, as far as the Republican Party, whatever's left of that party, um, because at this moment they really don't have a direction as to what they want to be. From what the traditional conservative Republican Party, the GOP. Um, I don't know what that is anymore. Not since Trump has put his footprints and his handprints and his fingertips all over uh, the Republican Party and his influence, and he has a continued influence over that party. So my whole thing is, again, who's the next superstar? Who's coming up? And in the black community, who's that next leader? I saw with his 18-year-old had one mayor. His name escapes me, um, but he's youngest male, the youngest mayor ever elected in the United States. He's 18 years old, and I thought that was great. I thought that was a lot of people was feedback on it. A lot of people were saying, well, he's too young to actually be a mayor. You know, is kind of like, is this a gimmick? How can you take a town like that serious? All the blowback and the nonsense and the shaming people do with social media. So there's nothing new. Um, you know how that goes. And people have their opinions about it. Me, I'm indifferent about it. If the citizens voted him in, he voted him in. Obviously, he must appeal to some of the things or initiatives that he might, have shared with them. Those initiatives that he wants to move forward as a mayor, um, obviously touch the people, and uh, the people have spoken, and it's a democratic process. And see, this is the thing: everybody's trying to attack democracy. Everybody got blowback on it. Everything you do is now questioned. You win a race, and it's always this shroud of controversy around this. But I find it very interesting because if it's not, and on both sides, if it's on the Democrat side, of course, the Republicans, they're going to rebuttal, and vice versa. As far as Democrats is always going to say something. And it was interesting with this Georgia race because you had Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker, Herschel Walker, and they had that runoff, and Senator Warnock got reelected, uh, and so he'll serve his full 6 years before he's up for uh, up for election again. His seat comes up for election again. So uh, that's good. That's good because then you have a senator in there that has 6 years. Altogether, it'll be 8 years when it's all played out. And so you're able to get things done. You're able to get on some committees. You're able to have some type of clout now because you've been elected twice. And so that's not a small feat. So congratulations to Senator Raphael Wellner. And congratulations to Herschel Walker for running albeit controversial, and how do I want to say this? I want to be classy about it. Well, I'll just leave it at controversial on his side. So, you know, uh, it was interesting. A lot of things he was saying. It's kind of like he was like the meme uh, senator, and I don't know he's up there trying to get this little boy to sleep, and he's resisting. So we're helping someone out. My niece had to work today, so she's working at the hospital. So sometimes your family got to kick in and take up the slack. So so if you hear him doing this thing, that's him. So anyway, back to what I was saying. So to tie all this in as far as the next leader, who is that person? Uh, like I mentioned, the 18-year-old that ran for mayor and won successfully in his town. Could he be someone down the future or down the road that can continue his political future and make it to Washington or state senator or whatever? I mean, you got to go through these, depending on his ambition. And he's young; he's 18 years old, and so wherever that political road takes them, because it's a long, grinding, bumpy, dirty, mudslinging road, as you know. So, but we as a people, um, the people of this country, we deserve so much more. And as far as the direction of where the country is going, um, there's so much coming from the higher ups and the powers that be. There's so much division based on trying to get votes. So have we become pawns? I guess my question is, to this process every 4 years or every 2 year cycle of voting, that they do their one to the politicians. Um, you get all the ads, the endorsements, uh, the critical thinking, the critical dissecting of each candidate's platform, mandate, and you see this all the time. And then they want to come and touch the people for votes, and I can't I can't count how many emails I've got from Nancy Pelosi. All the political emails you get to donate this $15 here, $15 there. All of a sudden, people I haven't heard of that were contacting me, emailing me, and texting me about donations. So, I can't help but think of all the money they get off these donations. Um, a lot of these critical, um, you know, high button topics like Roe versus Wade and voting reform, uh, the environment, just to name a few. A lot in what your thoughts on, no matter what your thoughts on, or your view on the Ukraine war with Russia and the American aid and military aid, and also money to support that war. And billions and billions are going over there that Biden has released uh, in support of Ukraine. Um, but a lot of Americans tend to think that Europeans should be picking up more than what they're doing. They should be contributing more, and not just America seems to be holding the bag on the majority of the time in fighting, and we're constantly throwing money, throwing money, throwing money over there. But where's the European effort, like Germany, England, France, um, you know, the Dutch? You know, where are they? A lot of Arab countries. Where are they? I mean, in particular, NATO is what I'm talking about. So um, I don't know, man. I don't know. It just seems that we get caught up. We can't police the world, and I know it's all for democracy, and we have to be on that side to fight for democracy in these sovereign nations. But at the same time, you got to take care of your people too in this nation. At the same time, you know, a lot of people, and this is the end of the year, are trying to hold it together. Uh, we've been in the pandemic for what, 3 years now, so um, a lot of people are trying to get back on their feet, man, and it's hard for a lot of people. Let's keep it real. It's hard, and so all I can do is give words of encouragement. You got to persevere, try to save as much as you can for a rainy day. If you can invest, if you have some money that you can invest in, 500, 2,000, $3,000, and I know that's a lot of money for people, and I kind of feel guilty even suggesting that, but I feel it's my responsibility to keep uh, driving that home to people, driving that nail, home. in regards to telling people you have to save, you have to sacrifice, you have to tighten up your belt, um, even when you don't think you have it. And a lot of people are relying on faith, and people pay tithes at their house of worships and donations, and because it's rough. By the way, please share this live. Please like the video because that helps the exposure, that helps the channel out, and subscribe. It doesn't cost you a thing. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button, then hit the bell sign so you can get all notifications when I decide to upload the video, and you'll be right in, you'll be tapped in just like that. You'll be tapped in. So again, um, back to who is our next leader to lead the movement. And movements, whether it's a grassroots movement, political movement, uh, social movement, and they kind of all tie in. Um, Sustainable movements, so in the past you had political parties, Black Panther Party, um, the Schnick Party. I mean, not parties, but these were movements. These were Black Panthers was for the defense of Black people against police brutality. They stood up for self righteousness. Being able to be proud, being able to uh, live in a country that that has uh, a racial uh, history that's not very good when it comes to treating its citizens, especially ones with a darker hue. Uh, we know this; it's well documented. Uh, the lynchings, historically, the brutality for just people trying to be educated, enter institutions, state institutions, to desegregate schools. So we already know this. A lot of people, young people, so many people who pushed these movements back in the day were murdered. A lot of casualties. A lot of people didn't make it to see where we at now. Obviously, during the course of history, but we still had to push the line, and we still have to continue to be diligent in regards to being proactive politically, economically, historically, so we can know uh, how to avoid the pitfalls. Because I'm not going to lie, man, it seems like sometimes we're going backwards, and that's the problem. That's the problem. We cannot go backwards. You got to draw the line. And we're still in a situation racially in this country that uh, is not acceptable as far as the discrimination and the white supremacy that's making a resurgence. I think it's disgusting, and that can't win. That can't win. Uh, we have to defeat that by any means necessary and without fail, because um, we're kind of getting tired of being uh, the brunt of the white man's frustration in life, used as a tool or vehicle, or being targeted because we're black, skin tone, um, being denied certain things and access to, uh, like I say, different neighborhoods or different jobs, um, political power, religious power, all because of the hue of my skin. And that can't continue. It can't continue. Everyone has to take responsibility to root out racism. I refuse to think that uh, it can't be defeated uh, because I got nothing but time on my hand to rebuke it whenever it pops up in my life. I'm going to speak on it. I'm not going to hold my tongue. I'm going to address what the problem is when I see that it's being used, white supremacy is being used to deny me uh, my full right as a citizen in this country. You're not going to deny me because I'm opposite of your color. That makes no sense to me. And I really don't want to entertain the thought that I have to debate that with you. Yet here we go. Here we are because of the resurgence of white supremacy. And so that all ties into this Roe versus Wade because sometimes I'm thinking, is it really about, this is a woman's right to have a child, or if she doesn't, if it's an unplanned pregnancy, she should have that choice whether she can contemplate, uh, another, an alternative, whether it's abortion, having a child, or terminating her pregnancy within a medical um, safe zone. I'm not advocating abortions being too far into the pregnancy, but I'm not a doctor, and I can't explain that. That's not my field. But that, I think the longer you go, the more risk there is, right? So uh, I think that's common sense. But a woman could do what she wants to do with her body, as long as she's making a sound choice that she believes in, and she has that right. But that's just me. Obviously, there's 50% of the country who believe otherwise. And so I can only give you what I feel. And so when that question is asked upon me, I'm going to tell you what I feel. I don't speak for other people, they can speak for themselves. So, so I don't agree with that. Uh, Supreme Court striking that down. I don't agree with it at all. And I think that stimulated a movement politically that we will see. We saw a little bit of, there was a lot of predictions of Republicans were this red wave that was going to sweep through, and you know, through Congress and sweeping changes, but it wasn't as predicted. So I think that was due to the fact of the Roe versus Wade. Uh, I could be wrong, but I just personally think that way. I think that was a factor that played a fact, played a big factor in how the outcome of some of these elections were. So I don't know. The beauty of this country is you can speak upon these things, you can speak on it, and the beauty of it again, you don't have to agree with me. You understand that? You don't have to agree with me. Just my thoughts. Um, we can debate. I have no issue with that. And maybe if we do hypothetically debate, I might be swayed one way or the other, or I might can see I might be a little bit more compassionate about your argument based on the debate. That's always open. That's always a ground that a common ground that can be had. But for the most part, my beliefs is like I stated earlier. I just think a woman has a right to choose. And I don't think a court or a judge, especially a male, can hold dominance over a woman deciding what or what not to do if she gets pregnant. I just I don't think that's an area that man should be dictating and making laws and dictating how a woman should choose or handle her business, her personal business, whether to bring a child into this world or not. That's all I'm saying. And that's just where I'm at. And like I said, a lot of people are going to uh, disagree with that, and that's okay. That's okay. That's fine. I don't expect everybody to agree with me 100% because that's the nature of what the tone is in the country. And so, I take that. I can live with that. And so you have a lot of this. I mean, politically, there's a lot going on. I like to say, welcome home, Brittany Griner, uh, the WNBA All Star, great athlete. Uh, she was held, as you know, for over 200 and some odd days in Russia. Um, she for drug paraphernalia and um, cannabis oil, which is illegal in Russia. And she was in her luggage as she tried to board a plane at the airport. And some of you know the history behind that. She was tried and she was sentenced to 9 years in a prison camp. So she was ultimately basically used as a political pawn for Russia. And of course, Brittany Griner's wife uh, worked diligently with the White House to advocate for her and to bring her home. And they went through it, man. She went through it. And the Biden uh, administration was patient. They kept it on the political burner and they let the process play out. Now there's some I don't know, rumors or innuendos that the crown prince of Saudi Arabia had something to something about he called in a favor to Putin, and he kind of orchestrated behind the scenes. Uh, but I don't know. But there is some rumors out there. You never know, man. The world stage, this political stage that we see in our nightly, living rooms and over, streaming, whether we're watching network news, and we see so many different takes and so many different political opinions about what's going on and what's really going on, and you just got to kind of take it all in and make your own assessment of, what you're going to decipher from what they're giving you. They're not going to give you the real deal, of course not. You know, they're giving you formulated formulated opinions and a lot of other different, slanted coverage. There's even going to be a Democratic majority of the time. The news is going to be from a Democratic lens, and you have outlets, a lot of outlets, going to be through a Republican lens. So you got to take it, with a grain of salt. Everyone is, everything is being delivered in, like I say, formulated and edited to make themselves look good. So, but again, I'm glad she's home, and she was traded for. Now they came at a heavy, heavy, heavy price. This guy Victor Boot this arms dealer, uh, hitman, allegedly hitman arms dealer. He was here in U.S. custody for 25 years in Russia. I think they were trying to get the Marine. Uh, United States Biden was trying to get him added into the deal along with Brittany and the prisoner swap, but Russia wouldn't budge. They said no, we'll give up Brittany, you give up Victor Booth, and he's an arms dealer. He did a lot of, he sold a lot of arms to Africa. Uh, with all these wars and civil wars, civil unrest in Africa, uh, a lot of arms to Liberia or Charles Taylor. It didn't, number one thing that made me think about this is what's going on in Haiti uh, since the assassination of their president back in 2021, and that country has is not reported, but there's a lot of unrest there. There's a lot of gangs that's roaming the street, controlling the country. Uh, the police that's there, uh, they seem to uh, could be bought or had or whatever. So um, we'll see old Victor. Will old Victor make his presence known to sell arms there? You understand what I'm saying? So I can see the uproar. Um, do I wish that this guy could have stayed in jail? 100%. But uh, the deal was the deal that they did, and you got to, you can hold your nose on it, but you got the beloved individual back home who had a lot of support that was pushing her to get home and to bring her back home, and I can't be mad at that. I can't be mad at that at all. So it is what it is, man. As far as Brittany, BG, um, there's going to be a lot of different. It's going to be a process for her because her story is going to be inspirational, and she's going to be in demand, and then she's going to have to, her profession, her basketball is her profession, and it brings up the question of, she's over there to make a living in her quote unquote off year with the off season of the WNBA, and she's over there in Russia to play for a Russian team over there, a professional basketball team in Russia, to supplement her income. Men incomes are way up there. Their salaries are way up there. WNBA, not so much. Just a small fraction of what these NBA, players make. So that's a big deal. So she's bringing awareness to that too. That's it, with all the negativity that went on with her being captured and being held and being tried and just basically being held as a political pawn. Let's just call it what it is. I mean, yes, Russia does have a strong anti-drug policy, and their laws are their laws. And as far as people traveling, Americans or anybody who's traveling, you need to respect other countries' laws. Let me get that out the way. You got to respect other people. Be familiar with their laws. Be familiar with their laws. You just can't go out here and think that you're in America because you're a tourist. Some places don't want you to drink. Certain activities you cannot do in other countries. They frown upon it. So you have to respect these people's laws, just like you would want them to respect the laws here when they come here. And so that's what I'll say about that. But at the same time, uh, I don't believe in people being held for political reasons. And there's a lot of political prisoners that's in jail, you know. So, and throughout history, that's been happening. So, it is what it is. But please like this video, share this live, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel, Van Guardian News. I appreciate you, for you taking time out to watch this. I appreciate that. And but yeah, meanwhile, you got here at home in Washington, D.C., where I'm from, you have Daniel Snyder in the the oversight committee, headed up by the Democrats, found that he, in his toxic work um, environment, found that he was complicit in a lot of this stuff that these accusations were being made upon. Um, but and they also implicated the NFL. The NFL was implicated, and so I heard a tape of Jerry Jones kind of like backing Snyder in this. And after they kind of briefly saw I guess, the report, 79-page report, I believe. I know the Republicans had a rebuttal saying it was a waste of time, waste of taxpayers' money. A lot of people saying it's a waste of taxpayers' money. But you had these women who were harassed, man. Let's call it what it is. This frat boy type atmosphere, and putting women in uncomfortable positions, and as far as their workplace, and that's not good. They did the work, man. You know, honest day living, and you got to be subjected to frat boy behavior and cat calls or whatever. It's crazy. But anyway, that's enough for me. I just thought I'd jump on here real quick. I'm going to be doing lives more often as opposed to uploading videos, but just thought I came on here. Just wanted to talk about who's going to be our next new leader. Who do you think it is? Please leave a comment in the comment section. That helps the channel out too. And I wish you a happy weekend. Take care.